You mean to tell me the music was not playing the whole time? Come on, man. I hate the holidays. Really do. Alrighty. Hello everyone, hello. Happy Festivus to everybody in the stream. And yes, we do celebrate Festivus in this community. Hope everyone is having a good day, or night, or whatever. We're having a Festivus Advent of Cyber. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope you all are doing well. Hoping you all are having a good Festivus. I'm having a shitty Festivus. Just like this is a complaint about the holidays. I'm gonna complain about my Festivus holiday. That's what I celebrate right there. It's Festivus. Anyway, how is everybody doing tonight? Who is watching the stream? And don't forget, in about 6 hours we start 31-hour stream with some movies. We're gonna be streaming Santa Claus versus the Martians. That's gonna be a classic. That's gonna be the main thing that's gonna get streamed tonight. Is Santa Claus versus the Martians. That way I have an opportunity to sleep. I gotta wake up at like 3:55 in the morning, get up, and then start tracking Santa. Anyway. How's everyone doing? We're gonna get started here in about probably 5 minutes. We'll get started with tonight's Advent of Cyber task in about 5 minutes. But anybody celebrating Festivus tonight? Anybody celebrating Festivus? Because that's what we celebrate here in the stream community. Is Festivus. It's a Festivus for the rest of us. And I've got the poll out here. The old Festivus poll that we're going to be using to celebrate Festivus tonight. So I'm happy to be part of that, to start that whole tradition again. And I guess that's pretty much it. We're also going to be doing Advent of Cyber at 11 AM. So in about over 12 hours. Like, I'm going to do Advent of Cyber the minute it comes out. The minute it comes out at 11 AM tomorrow, we're going at it. Anyway. It is day 23 of Advent of Cyber. For those of you who are keeping track with us, it is day 23 of Advent of Cyber. And what are we doing? I think we're doing password cracking, aren't we? I think we are. I had to look at the what we're going to be doing, and looks like it's going to involve using John the Ripper. I just took a peek at it, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Let me see. I'm getting a DM. I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if it's anyone. If anyone's going to be on that I invited. But if not, that's perfectly okay. I invited somebody to be part of tonight's stream, and if not, that's perfectly alright. We can always try again for Christmas Eve, for Advent of Cyber, as well. Because tomorrow's stream is gonna be an all-day thing, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna need a little bit of time. Real quick, I'm getting a DM from a friend I invited to be part of tonight's stream. If not, then it's perfectly alright. It is the holidays, so I'm not too worried. Open VPN. I'm just gonna set everything up because I'm doing the Advent of Cyber anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's see here. I have no idea what. Not a minute. Alright, there we go. I'll just go ahead and shoot a message. We may have a guest popping in a little late, but better. But, I mean, and no worries. You're never late if the stream is going on still. As long as the stream is going on, which will be plenty of time, I will say you're never late. Alright. So anyway, let me get my got my monster out for now, but I'm gonna have a little bit of Coke here in a bit. Ugh. Good stuff. Alright. We're gonna get started with Advent of Cyber. And got it up right here. We're gonna go over to TryHackMe's website and we're gonna see what we're doing. Had a little bit of a peek at it earlier, and I'm kind of excited to give this task a try. Like, this is the type of task I get excited about. And it looks like coerced authentication. This looks fun. This looks like NTLM authentication. Something I've done plenty of times on TryHackMe. So we're gonna have to do some password cracking. We're gonna try to get some hashes, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun trying this out. Okay, so here's our story so far, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the machine first. Read this over, and I'm going to give it time to boot. Alright. McSkitty is unable to authenticate to her server. It seems that McGreedy has struck again and changed the password. We know it's him since Log McBlue confirmed it in the logs that there were authentication attempts from his laptop. Online brute force attacks don't seem to be working, so it's time to get creative. We know that the server has a network file share, so if we can trick McGreedy, maybe we can get him to disclose the new password to us. Let's get to work. So, our learning objectives today are the basics of network and network file shares, understanding NTLM authentication, how NTLM authentication coercion attacks work. I'm gonna pop into Hackers Hacking real quick, just hang out in here for a bit. There we go. I'll be in the Hackers Hacking VC. That way Theo can poke me when he's ready. Alright, so we're gonna work on understanding the NTLM authentication, how NTLM authentication coercion attacks work, how responder works for authentication coercion attacks, and forcing authentication coercion using LNK files. Before moving forward, we're going to review the questions in the connection card right here. Do we need the attack box today? Yes, we do. Is it optional to use, is it an option to use it? Or can we use our own machine? And we can use our own VM or a hack top that is connected to TryHackMe's VPN. Do we need to start a VM today? Yes, we do. We've just done that. We just started the VM just a while ago, so we're good. So you can either use the attack box or your own VM. If you're a premium user, I definitely recommend the attack box. It's really, really good. I love the attack box. But it's only you can only use it once a day if you're a free user. So if you don't plan on doing any other hackings today, then go for using the attack box. Otherwise, you can just use your own VM and have it connected to TryHackMe's VPN. So in today's task, we're going to look at NTLM authentication and how threat actors can perform authentication coercion attacks. By coercing authentication, attackers can uncover sensitive information that can be used to gain access to pretty critical stuff. Let's go ahead and dive in. We tend to think of computers as isolated devices. This may be true to an extent, but the real power of computing comes into play when we connect to networks. This is where we can start to share resources in order to achieve some pretty awesome things. In corporate environments, network and network-based resources are used frequently. For example, in a network that there's no need for every user to have their own printer. Instead, the organization can buy a couple of large printers that all employees can share. This not only saves costs, but allows administrators to manage these systems more easily and centrally. Another example of this is file shares. Instead of each employee having local copies of files and needing to perform crazy version control when sharing files with other employees via old-school methods like flash drives, the organization can deploy a network file share. Since the files are stored in a central location, it's easy to access them and ensure everyone has the latest version to hand. Administrators can also add security to file shares to ensure that only authenticated users can access them. Additionally, access controls can be applied to ensure employees can only access specific folders and files based on their job role. However, it's these same file shares that can land an organization in hot water with the red teamers. Usually, any employee has the ability to create a new network file share. Security controls are not often applied to these shares, allowing any authenticated user to access their contents. This can cause two issues. If a threat actor gains read access, they can look to exfiltrate sensitive information. In file shares of large organizations, you can often find interesting things just lying around, such as credentials or sensitive customer documents. If the threat actor gains read access, they could alter information stored in the share, potentially overwriting critical files or staging other attacks, as we'll see in this task. Before we can perform any of these attacks, or any of these types of attacks, we first need to understand how authentication works for network file shares. In the Day 11 task, we learned about Active Directory and Kerberos authentication. File shares are often used on servers and workstations connected to an AD domain. This allows AD to take care of access management for the file share. Once connected, it's not only local users on the host who will have access on the file share, all AD users with permissions will have access too. Similar to what we saw in Day 11, Kerberos authentication can be used to access these file shares. However, we'll be focusing on the other popular authentication protocol, NetNTLM or NTLM authentication. Before we dive into NTLM authentication, we should first talk about the server message block protocol. The SMB protocol allows clients like workstations to communicate with a server like a file share in networks that use Microsoft AD. SMB governs everything from internetwork file sharing to remote administration. Even the out-of-paper alert your computer receives when you try to print a document is the work of the SMB protocol. However, the security of the earlier versions of the SMB protocol were deemed insufficient. Several vulnerabilities and exploits were discovered that could be leveraged to recover credentials or even gain code execution on devices. Although some of these vulnerabilities were resolved in newer versions of the protocol, legacy systems don't support them. So organizations rarely enforce their use. NetNTLM, often referred to as Windows authentication or just NTLM authentication, allows the application to play the role of a middleman between the client and AD. The NetNTLM is a very popular authentication protocol in Windows and is used for various different services, including SMB and RDP. It is used in AD environments such that as it allows servers such as network file shares to pass the buck to AD for authentication. Let's have a look at how it works in the animation below. So we're waiting for this to load. So user requests access using credentials, obviously. You see a username and password. So user requests, server sends a challenge, this client sends a response, the server sends challenge in response to DC. DC compares challenge and response for authentication. Let me make sure I read that right. And the server sends DC's response. So this is a pretty simple way of describing it. When a user wants to authenticate to a server, the server responds with a challenge. The user can then encrypt the challenge using their password, well, not their actual password, but the hash derived from the password, to create a response that is sent back to the server. The server then passes both the challenge and the response to the domain controller. Since it knows the user's password hash, it can verify the response. If the response is correct, the domain controller can notify the server that the user has been successfully authenticated and that the server can provide access. This prevents the application or server from having to store the user's credentials, which are now securely and exclusively stored on the domain controller. Here's the trick. If we could intercept these authentication requests and challenges, we could leverage them to gain unauthorized access. Let's dive a little bit deeper. There are usually lots of authentication requests and challenges flying around on the network. A popular tool that can be used to intercept them is Responder. Responder allows us to perform man-in-the-middle attacks by poisoning the responses during NetNTLM authentication, tricking the client into talking to you instead of the actual server they want to connect to. On a real LAN, Responder will attempt to poison any link local multicast name resolution, or LLMNR, NetBIOS name service, or NBTNS, and web proxy auto discovery, or WPAD requests that are detected. On large Windows networks, these protocols allow hosts to perform their own local and DNS resolution for all hosts on the same local network. Rather than overburdening network resources, such as DNS servers, first hosts can attempt to determine if the host they are looking for is on the same local network by sending out LLMNR requests and seeing if any hosts respond. The NBTNS is the precursor protocol to LLMNR and WPAD requests that are made to try to find a proxy for future HTTP or HTTPS connections. Since these protocols rely on requests broadcasted on the local network, our rogue device running Responder would receive them too. They would just be dropped since they were not meant for our host. However, Responder will actively listen to the requests and send poisoned responses telling the requesting host that our IP is associated with the requested hostname. By poisoning these requests, Responder attempts to force the client to connect to our attack box. In the same line, it starts to host several servers such as SMB, HTTP, SQL, and others to capture these requests and force authentication. If you want to dive a bit deeper into using Responder for these poisoning attacks, have a look at the breaching AD room on TryHackMe. Is that yeah, it's right here. I gotta join this room at some point. Give this a try. I owned it, but it doesn't say I'm in the room. Weird. I thought for sure I remembered that room too. Anyway, this was an incredibly popular red teaming technique. Wait, here we go. To perform when it was possible to gain access to an office belonging to the target corporation. Simply plugging in a rogue network device and the listening responder for a couple of hours would yield several challenges that could then be cracked offline or relayed. Then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden, being in the office was no longer cool. Most employees connected from home using a VPN. While this was great for remote working, it meant intercepting net and TLM challenges were no longer viable. Users connecting via VPN, which in most cases isn't part of the local network, made it borderline impossible to intercept and poison LLMNR requests in a timely manner using Responder. Now we have to get a lot more creative. Cue something called coercion. Goddess Love, how's it going? Welcome. Happy Festivus. Perfect. Cheers, baby. Cheers to Festivus. Ugh. Festivus for the rest of us. If we can't listen to... If we can't just listen to and poison requests, we have to create our own. This brings a new attack vector into the spotlight: coercion. Instead of waiting for requests, we can coerce a system or service to authenticate us, allowing us to receive the challenge. Once we get this challenge based on certain conditions, we can aim to perform two main attacks. If the password of the account coerced to authenticate is weak, we could correct the corresponding NetNTLM challenge offline using tools such as Hashcat or John the Ripper. If the server or service's security configurations are insufficient, we can attempt to relay the challenge in order to impersonate the authenticating account. Two incredibly popular versions of coerced authentication are Print Spooler and Petit Potam. Print Spooler is an attack that coerces the Print Spooler service on Windows hosts to authenticate to a host of your choosing. Petit Potam is similar but leverages a different issue to coerce authentication. In these cases, it's the machine account, the actual account or computer, that performs the authentication. Normally, machine account passwords are random and change every 30 days. So there isn't really a good way for us to crack the challenge. However, we can relay this authentication attempt by coercing a very privileged server, such as the domain controller, then relaying the authentication attempt. An attacker could compromise not just a single server, but all of AD. If you're interested in learning more about these coercion attacks, you can have a look at the Exploiting AD room on TryHackMe. For this task, we will focus a bit more on coercing users into authenticating it to us. Since users often have weak passwords with this approach, we have a much higher chance of cracking one of the challenges and gaining access as the user. Users are now mostly connecting to file shares via VPN, so we can't simply run Responder and hope for the best. So the question remains, how can we coerce users to authenticate to something we control? Let's put it all together. If we have write access to a network's file share that is used regularly, we can create a sneaky little file to coerce those users to authenticate to our server. We can do this by creating a file. When viewed within the file browser, will coerce authentication automatically. There are so many different file types that can be used for this, but they all work similarly. Coercing authentication by requesting that an element such as the file icon is loaded from a remote location. We will be using the NTLM depth tool to create these documents. If we're not using the attack box, we'll have to download the tooling first. But it's also included in the attack box as well. So here's what we're going to do. We do a good job of maintaining the a good job of maintaining the attack box for sure. We're gonna get clone, and we're gonna get NTLM depth. For our specific example, we will create an LNK file using the following command. So we're going to type in Python 3 NTLM def underscore def.py, because this is a Python script. That's G LNK for our file type. We're going to type S, and we're going to put in the IP address of the machine. Actually, not the machine. We're going to put in our attacker machine's IP address. Good catch there. Hit F. And there's a directory called the stealthy directory, so we'll go ahead and type in stealthy. And this will create an LNK file in the stealthy directory called stealthy.lnk. With this file, we can now coerce authentication. We know that McCready is a little snoopy, so let's add the LNK file to our network share and hopes he walks right into our trap. We're going to use our favorite file editor and we can inspect the LNK file we have created. Wow. Okay. Never mind. Hello, Travis and Ice Guy. How's it going? So we're gonna add this file to the network file share to coerce authentication. We're gonna connect to the network file share on the IP address backslash IP address backslash elfshare backslash. So we're gonna cd into stealthy. We're gonna run SMB client. Put in the IP address. And then elfshare. We got a typo here. You're here for the TikTok hacking tutorial? Have you missed much? Hey Theo, how's it going? Hey Theo, do you want to voice chat? I know I was inviting you to be part of the stream for tonight. Are you good with voice chat or are you good with just chatting? I'm in the yeah, guys, let me do a let me see if I can do a shout out for. Okay, I'm in the voice chat in my Discord at the moment. So if you want to pop in and join in there, we can just chat and I can do while I do the Advent of Cyber. Stuff.
Hello.
Do I have any moderators in the chat that can give a shout out to B7H30? If not, I'll type it in. There we go.
My tip is, here's the secret if you want to get better at it. Don't tell anyone, okay? Here's the secret. I'm going to pause TTS
Hey,
real quick.
Hang on a second, hang on. I don't have my headphones on.
Here's the...
There we go. Hey Theo, how's it going? I'm alright. I'm alright, just...
Something I would do.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the one time I actually stream and I completely forget to put my earbuds in.
Thank you for inviting me on.
No problem. So, yeah, guys, Theo is one of our fellow hackers who also does techie stuff as well. How long have you been using TryHackMe for, Theo?
TryHackMe was the second platform that I was using to learn on. First was Over the Wire Bandit.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And yeah, I agree. I love Over the Wire Bandit. And then I just transitioned into TryHackMe for the tutorial rooms more than just the box rooms. So much like what you're doing now.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got started as well, were the tutorials. And,
They're great for walkthroughs.
oh, they really are. Huh?
What day are you on? Are you caught up?
I'm on, well, I'm just about caught up. I'm on day 23.
Yeah.
Of course. I've been doing this pretty much every day since December started, so it's been...
Have you been able to crank them out in a day, or did you have to like do a couple like in a day, or have you just been caught up every day?
I've just been caught up every day. I had to catch up on day 3 because my power went out during day 2. Oh yeah. That definitely will do it.
That's good for you. I have not been able to stay caught up with my other obligations and things I got going on. I'm on day 11, so you are double my minutes.
Wow. Dang, day 11.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to get caught up pretty soon, though. I believe in you.
Well, thank you.
No problem, no problem. But anyway,
Don't let me interrupt you. Yeah, as you're going through or whatever, I'll just watch and I'll ask questions even. Like you use Parent.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna install Kali Linux on this thing, but it does not really like my Wi-Fi card for whatever reason. So
Yeah, use what works for you. I mean, have you had to install many tools, or is pretty much everything there that you need?
I've had to install a few tools, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's got almost everything I need. I've been trying to get IRC to work with Tor with AnonSurf, but it just keeps changing my Tor file, and it always just overwrites it every single time I try to use AnonSurf. So I'm just trying to figure out how to use IRC with Tor. But anyway, I'm just typing in some commands that I need to type in. I need to type in some commands to put a file into a network file share. Yeah, that's a good idea. So as we see, we've just put the stealthy.lnk file into the file, the network file share. So basically the first command will connect you to the share as a guest. The second command will upload your file. Third command will list all files for verification. Next, we need to run responder to listen for incoming authentication attempts. We can do this by running the following commands from the terminal window, but you gotta be careful. If you're not using the attack box, you'll have to replace ENS5 with the tune adapter for the VPN connection. Hang on, I don't have to exit out of this. Do I have responder installed, or do I want to... I've got it. Cool. Alright, we'll type in responder, that's uppercase I, and tune 0. We gotta run that as root. Of course. We'll add a sudo to the command. And now we just run the command. So let's give McReady a couple of minutes. He might be taking a hot chocolate break right now, but we should hear back from him in less than 5 minutes. while we wait, we can use... Shoot, I should have just... I did not... Okay, I'm gonna have to run the connect back into the server somehow. And get back in. We do have some clues in the file share. That we can have a look at. No. That's not coming through on my end. Let's try to get greedy keys and we'll open up another tab. And let's cat greedy keys. Ooh, we've got a password list. Cool. That's gonna come in handy. So once McReady authenticates, we should see the following and responder. We got quite a few things. Oop, we got a hash. We got ourselves a hash. Copy that. And we'll... Yeah, I believe it's past the hash. Wants us to... Yeah, I just got the NTLM hash, so I'm just going to create a file for it. Now that we have the challenge, we're going to try to crack it to recover the new password. As mentioned before, the challenge was encrypted used with the password's NTLM hash. The NTLM hash is derived from the user's password. Therefore, we can perform a brute force attack on this challenge in order to recover the user's password. So we just copied the contents of the NTLM hash, which is the NTLM v2 SSP hash portion to a text file and saved it. So, and you can use whatever editor you want to use and save it. You can use Nano, Vim, or whatever, and then just run the following command to run John the Ripper to crack the challenge. So we want to use John word list equals greedy keys, and then we want ntlm.hash, and boom, we have a password. So we need to take back control by using the username and password to authenticate the host via RDP. And let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna create a new RDP connection right here. We'll copy the IP address. And then we'll copy other information here. We got the username we absolutely want, and then the password. save, and then we connect. Accept certificate. I'm gonna read through this and we can chat while I worked with this. So coercing authentication with files is an incredible technique to have in your red team arsenal. Since conventional responder intercepts are no longer working, this is a great way to continue intercepting authentication challenges. Plus, it goes even further, using responder to poison requests such as LLMNR typically disrupts the normal use of network services, causing users to receive access denied messages. Using LNK files for coercing authentication means that we are not actually poisoning legitimate network services, but creating brand new ones. This lowers the chances of our actions being detected. So that's pretty much everything I've read through. We're gonna authenticate here. Also want to answer some questions. And there's a flag in the system as well, so we want to have a look at that as well. So we have a flag. I'll go ahead and put in here. We have a password. There we go. And if you enjoyed this task, feel free to check out the Compromising Active Directory module. I've completed all the free worms and one of the VIP ones. Nice. I gotta get back into that. Okay, I do believe I'm pretty much done with this room. How are you doing, Dio?
I'm good. I'm just watching you. So you've been live only an hour and you're already done with that?
Yeah.
Crazy. Good. I'm jealous.
Don't be. To me, it's just more fun.
You are now system administration?
Yeah, it's technically training under sysadmin. Yeah, I'm technically training under a sysadmin, more of a independent contracting kind of work. But it's been fun, having to learn a lot of stuff about Docker, of course. So, it started out being a pain for me since I'm not very experienced with Docker, but I've gotten around to learning more about it, and I'm starting to understand it a lot more, especially through using TryHackMe as a tool to learn about Docker.
Do they have Docker rooms?
I believe they do.
Okay. What is your favorite container? What do you use? Anything you like?
I'm mostly getting into learning Nginx.
Okay. For server and web pages?
Yeah. I want to get into like learning more about Nginx, and also I definitely want to get into learning how to get a radio server running as well. I've been trying my hardest to get a radio server running, and the server service that I have been looking into uses Docker. So it uses Docker and Nginx, I believe, and I've been trying to get into using. I want to get back into using Docker and all of that. Learn that, do my own projects in addition to whatever the tech company wants me to do.
Okay. Is that AzuraCast?
Yeah, AzuraCast.
Cool. That's very neat.
Yeah, I know the guy who's started the AzuraCast project going back years, and he based it on, I believe he based it on like a project he worked on before he relinquished it to other people within the My Little Pony fandom.
Okay.
So it's a really cool tool. It's a really cool radio server service. It's really awesome. Like, I've played around with it a bit, and it does a really good job with radio, and I think I've got a few other friends that use AzuraCast as well.
I'm like flipping through the web pages now, taking a look at it. It looks pretty interesting. Is it actual radio frequencies that you use, or is it something on there, like
It's, I believe it's just internet radio. They don't tap into frequencies or anything like that. They use Liquid Soap as one of the services that's part of the project. It's a pretty cool little tool. Like, just having a radio station that does autoplay and actually being able to run like several radio stations at once. That's one thing I liked about AzuraCast, is you can just run multiple at once. I'm pretty sure it may affect the system resources a bit, but still, it's pretty cool. How long have you been in the tech industry, Theo?
if you can believe it, 10 months.
10 months, wow.
Before I got my job as a penetration tester, I was in the logistics trucking industry.
Ooh, interesting.
Before that, beverage management. Before that, restaurants.
Sounds like a pretty fun adventure. That, and how did it all lead you to tech?
I wish that I had a more noble story for you, but well, I don't know how to I was working in the trucking industry. I've always loved like computers. Anything computer related, even Excel, Word, games, modifying pencil to do it. Working in the trucking industry, and I would keep an eye on my bonuses pretty good. And one year I had them calculated. And I'm sorry, and then prior to me calculating them, my direct boss had he left the company.
Oof.
So, and you'll have that.
Yeah.
But I went into because I figure out my bonuses, and they were very open. It was a very open company. So I would go in and talk to the CFO and says, okay, hey, this is what I figured out. And he's like, our numbers aren't matching. And I says, okay, well, if yours are higher, I'll take yours. but they weren't. His numbers were lower. And I said, well, okay, well, this is what I have. What am I doing wrong? And another quick backstory. I had work anniversary was in October, and I would get reviews in October, and my boss would say, "Okay, hey, another great review. I'm going to get you in for an increase, and then we will I'll get you in for an increase, and we'll get this on your paycheck." Great. Well, I wouldn't see any of that increase that he was talking about until the beginning of the year, and I just figured he was slow or there was some kind of policy. Well, it turns out he was holding my increase back to minimize my bonus capturing ability for the next year.
Oof.
Yeah, that didn't sit well. That didn't really sit well with me. So
Yeah.
that was enough motivation for me to run down the path of getting my master's in IT, and then deciding on cybersecurity.
Nice. Nice.
So,
Yeah, I wish I had I don't have that much of a humble story, trying to get into tech either. It's all been a bunch of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey kind of stuff with my background.
mm-hmm.
But
Well, you, I mean, with system administration, you are getting the, in my opinion, a great base layer of information to learn how to hack. I mean, if you know how to build, especially from a networking level, if you know how to build stuff and create the permissions and, the systems, then you have a great foundation. And that's just the other side of the coin for cybersecurity, knowing how to tear it down.
exactly. And I'm just trying to start out with the help desk, and they just gave, and I had a friend that in the industry who's local to me. He's like, why don't I give you a little bit of experience and help you get your feet in the water. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. He's been pretty cool. Everybody's been pretty cool. And the funny thing is, I already knew like a couple of people who are working, well, at least one person who was actively working with this company. So I thought, it made me feel comfortable. So I figured, why not go ahead and accept it and just get my feet wet with tech.
Yeah, just I think what you're doing is great. I think just jumping in and getting the experience. I'll complain, to anyone who'll hear me about analysis paralysis, or about just what people overanalyze, like the path, like what should they do, what should they start with, and like you really only need a little bit of time to do research on what path you want to take, and what you want to do to find the path, and just start on it. I think people just get too wrapped up in, well, is this the most optimal path? No. Everyone's path is a mess. Everyone's path is always, at least mine is. At least I think a lot of other people's paths are too. They're just messy. That's what learning is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think Morpheus says it best. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path, and all we can really just do is walk the path, really. I mean, we can know the path, but makes a lot. Yeah, you can look at it, and because there's all sorts of paths, and you don't always know which paths will suit you compared to the one. You don't always know which ones will suit you. I mean, you can try one path out, doesn't work out, go for another one, and if it feels like it suits you, then keep at it,
Absolutely. I agree. and you learn from them too. You learn from. I mean, if you're not learning every day, I just I feel like you're not you. I'm just saying that in general, even me. If I don't teach myself or I'm not learning something every day, I feel like I'm wasting time. I feel like I'm wasting an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I know
I
people.
love how you are just chit chatting with me and you're listening to me, but you've already booted another box. You've already looked for another box. You've booted another box, and you're in the middle of typing your nmap command right now. I
Of
can't do that
course.
on. I can't do that.
Of
I can't do that on.
course. Well, we gotta find something hacky to do while we're chatting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm jealous, is what I'm saying. Yeah, good for you.
Honestly, I feel jealous about a lot of other people who are in who do tech too, because they've already got they're already walking their paths like ahead of me, and I'm just starting out.
I know. Don't let that. And I get that way too. Like I can look at a lot of other people and be envious of where they are already and what they've accomplished. But your path is your path. Just try not to. And I struggle with that too. Try
Mm-hmm.
not to let that. Try not to let that bother you. You should keep taking steps. And 23 days of TryHackMe Advent of Cyber is a flex on you by you, in my opinion. It really is.
Yeah, it really is a flex. I mean, oh my goodness, I can't imagine like doing this like every doing these kind of streams every day for a year, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I mean, if somebody challenged me to do like a Try Hack Me stream, like every day for an entire year, I mean, I'd consider it, but I have to also consider whether or not it would burn me out.
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, you're right on. I feel it. I can feel it. I can feel the burnout. I'm gonna. In fact, I usually take the beginning of the year to take a look at my schedule and what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do, and reflect on it and say, well, is that working? Yeah, you're being busy, but are you being productive? And I will usually trim one or two things or put a renewed focus on one thing or another. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to. See, now you have me thinking about my to-do list for Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that completely.
Barrow Buster. What is that? Is that for directories?
Yeah.
Domain enumeration?
Um, Directory enumeration.
Directory enumeration. Okay. I'm in the middle of doing a pen test right now, and my target is behind Cloudflare,
Ooh.
and that is pretty frustrating
Oh yeah.
because you do these boxes on Try Hack Me or even Hack the Box, and like you run these nmac commands and it just spits out all kinds of directories or services and their versions. You're like, okay, well, let me check like what's working on, what am I working on next? And it just doesn't work that way with something behind Cloudflare. Like I have a HTTP and HTTPS, and that is it. So maybe my finding is that I can't do anything.
Yeah, Cloudflare seems pretty secure.
Hmm.
I remember during DEF CON they were wanting to try to hack Kiwi Farms when it was behind Cloudflare.
Yeah. Who did I hear about Kiwi? Oh, Nova. I heard about Kiwi Farms behind Nova. I think from
Hmm.
Nova.
Yeah, and eventually Cloudflare's like, nope, we got too many complaints. We're not gonna host you guys anymore.
I'm gonna cut them loose. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
gotta cut them loose. I mean, we've seen all sorts of stuff the users there have been doing. It's
Mhm.
not really. It's not right.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. Interesting.
What box is this?
Um.
Lesson learned?
Yeah.
Is that Tibbs' lesson? Yeah, I think it is. Tiberius wrote the box, I think.
I have no idea.
Okay. No worries.
Something random I found that uses the Apache web HTTP server.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel you're gravitating towards? Like network, external or internal pen testing, or web app pen testing, or Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth, or what do you, or have you even thought of that?
I'm still thinking about what path I want to go for with hacking.
Okay.
Right now, it's looking like I'm just finding just documentation for Apache on this server. All I just need to do is just get past the login, and I just have a flag. And how long have you been a streamer for, Theo?
I think I have to go and look. I think a little over 2 years now.
Wow, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
How do you find that?
did you always do tech related streams during those 2 years, or did you play any video games before getting into tech?
Nope. It was all tech. Um, it's all been hacking
Ooh,
for 2 years.
right, nice.
Part of my way through, I got my master's, and I towards the end of my master's, I was playing Bandit over the wire, and then yeah, that's right. And then I was applying for jobs, and I was being told constantly that you just can't do anything if you don't have experience.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's what a lot of college kids these days are going through too. Is
hmm
not giving a job to anyone who don't have experience.
hmm So I started streaming to um, hold myself accountable to making sure that I was continuing to teach myself hacking concepts,
Hmm.
and to teach myself other things. And then it was about a year into streaming when I started making contacts with people, and I'm not sure if you've caught any of my hissy fits on stream, but every once in a while I'll throw a hissy fit where I don't understand. I don't understand something, and it could be tech related or just life related. And I did. I got on a rant and I threw my hissy fit on about how frustrating it was hearing about companies wanting you to have all this experience up front. And I remember I remember the stream exactly because I was saying that I'm like, I've I I started working in a restaurant. I didn't know how to do that, and I taught myself how to do that. I was a beverage manager selling Red Bull, and I didn't know how to do that. I taught myself that. And I've never worked for a trucking company, but I got a job doing that, and I taught myself how to do that. I said, why is hacking any different? That doesn't make any sense to me. And someone pulled me aside, in so many words. They didn't pull me like face to face, but pulled me aside and sent me a message and said, "Hey, I saw your stream. I understand your frustration. Let's look at this thing. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what how can I help?" And essentially, just boiled it down to is that I wasn't giving employers the warm and fuzzy if I didn't have some kind of experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that I could get around that is if I contributed to a GitHub. So I started contributing to my GitHub. I back up all my notes on GitHub. If I do a write-up, I put it on my GitHub. That way, and I put that sucker right on my resume, right at the top. And I can say, once I get to the like face-to-face interview, I can say, it's all right there. I'm an open book. Please take a look at my write-ups. Please take a look at my GitHub. Those are all the notes that I'm learning and stuff. So the long answer to your question was I started streaming because 2 years ago because I wanted to hold myself accountable for what I was learning and what I was doing.
Very cool. That's a very cool.
And look, that time you had time to write a Hydra command.
I had to look at a write-up for this one this time.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes write-ups are good, especially if it's just to learn.
Yep.
You never want to go through, write-ups just for the answers. You want to go through write-ups to understand how to do things. That's my way of seeing it.
No, I agree with you.
I was not gonna lie. I was always afraid of using write-ups because it would feel like cheating if I tried. But I mean, at the same time, though, write-ups are kind of how some people learn.
I'd say I wasted too much time banging my head on the keyboard before I'd pull up a write-up.
I've done that
before.
before.
How to do something, you're right. If you don't know how to do something, you don't know how to do it, and you don't know how to do it until you teach yourself, and that's what I would use a write-up for.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would take too long. I would take too long to make the decision to pull up a write-up.
Mm-hmm. Already it's pulling up some usernames.
All of their passwords are password? What the hell?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people don't really know how to use good OPSEC. Oh my goodness.
It's that kind of company. No one cares.
Nobody cares about just security. Except maybe the hacker that wants to get into your account.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kiri? How long have you been streaming?
I've been streaming for about oh man, about I want to say close to 7 or 8 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just been part-time streaming for the most part.
Okay.
Early on, because I didn't have affiliate or much of a setup for streaming. I just had a PlayStation and a laptop that would crash on me every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a better laptop, which was actually a gift from a. It was actually a gift that was also a hand-me-down,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a pretty it's a pretty neat looking it's a pretty neat laptop for gaming, and it's done the job for me as a streamer quite well. And then I got affiliate around 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and before that before I met a community that I became friends with, I was just a struggling Twitch streamer,
Mm-hmm.
and just about gave up until that point. I wasn't sure how viable Twitch would be, and then I got affiliate because of a community and I met a whole lot of awesome people on Twitch, and oh, nope, don't. Anyway, so I've been doing a whole lot of streaming since 2016, 2017, and really got into it in 2020, around 2020 or 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't start out doing any tech related streams or anything like that until I want to say last year. And other than that, the only hacker streams I used to do were, I would say, playing. What was the game called? Night Team 4 was the game. Yeah.
4.
Yeah, Night Team 4. It's like one of those government agent hacker games where you're pretty much an agent and
Oh, okay.
you gotta hack your adversaries. Oh man, yeah. Honestly, it's a pretty fun game. I would definitely recommend it for anyone who's interested in a little bit of learning with hacking, but doesn't teach a whole lot. That try, I would say TryHackMe teaches more than some hacker games do, but some hacker games do teach a little bit of basics with hacking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not. This is kind of taking too long, and Parrot does not always behave well with Hydra sometimes. I think I'll use the attack box for now and play around with this. Right up I'm reading only shows like one person, and I don't want to I mean, I could always try all of these, but that would be a lot more time consuming, and I've got to do
Oh wow.
Festivus with my stream community in about less than 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow any scam baiting streams at all, Theo?
Oh, I don't follow them, but if Kid Boga's on, I'll watch Kid Boga. That guy's a Rembrandt,
Oh
as
my
far as I'm
goodness.
concerned.
He is awesome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he does an amazing job with his scam baits.
Mm-hmm.
Several others too, like,
What's the YouTube America's Call Center or the People's Call Center? Something like that?
I don't know. Only follow like a few scam baiters. Kitboga, Dex Effects, Motherpole Huckers. Those are the only main three I follow. Jim Browning's another good one. Like, he actually does. He actually hacks the scammers while baiting them at the same time. That's the kind of stuff I want to get into. Is just hack. Yeah, I kind of want to learn how to hack the scam centers.
Okay.
Like, I used to call scammers on stream pretty much every Friday, but since Bob RTC pretty much shuttered for various reasons, I haven't been able to call up some scammers in quite some time.
Oh, they were a repo for phone numbers.
Yeah, they were a repo for phone numbers. They allowed you to call up some numbers as well,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I'll answer my phone every time I see a potential spam come up.
I do the same thing too. Like,
I just figure if I'm wasting their time even for a couple minutes, it's less time they can scam someone that's vulnerable.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me the same thing, but it should have just said attempt. Should have said attempt at the beginning of those lines rather than the port and the form.
That is a problem with walkthroughs. You really don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know until you try it. You don't know how accurate it is or how well they explain.
Yeah. That is a bit of a problem sometimes.
Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you? Do you use ChatGPT? How and to what end? Like how if you use it, what do you use it for?
That's actually a good question. Sometimes I just use it for memes, pretty much.
Sure.
But other than that, I don't really use it that much. Other than just for meme purposes.
Okay.
What purposes do you use, like, do you use ChatGPT much?
Yeah, I use the hell out of it. I ask it to interpret code for me. I ask it to write code for me. I ask it to write and explain and documentation document code for me and explain it to me. I use the hell out of it. I
Nice.
pre-prompt it even too. I even put in a little bit of advanced um, pre-prompting. I tell it I'm an ethical hacker. I tell it I work for as a penetration tester. I tell it to respond to me in blocks of code where appropriate. Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh my,
I
oh my gosh.
I
I asked, go ahead, go ahead. I'll,
well, no, I was going to say was that I do make it a point to say, well, how did you come to that conclusion, or explain it to me, like, so I'm really trying to use it to understand instead of just copying and pasting out from
yeah.
AI. Yep.
Oh my gosh. A couple of days ago, I asked, ChatGPT how I could run macOS at macOS 10 on PC, and it was like running macOS is known as Hackintoshing, and it's important to note that it may violate Apple's end user agreements.
Okay.
And then it gave me some information about how it gave me a general guide how to get started with Hackintoshing anyway, like prerequisites, installation steps, and troubleshooting.
Good.
And then ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT if it would encourage me to install macOS 10 on a Hackintosh, and it just like, nope, I'm not gonna encourage or endorse that. I'm not gonna assist you in finding images or software that would violate Apple's end user agreement. Dude, you just gave me a guide how to Hackintosh. Like, ChatGPT literally just oh my goodness, what's the word I'm looking for? Contradicted itself.
Right. It does that.
I thought it was the funniest thing.
Okay, Kiri, I gotta hop off. Got stuff to get prepared for tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, thank you for popping on and hanging out and chatting with me. I'm probably gonna wait on doing lesson learn until maybe later, like maybe sometime after Advent of Cyber. And
it's an interesting one if I'm remembering it right.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. All right.
Okay.
Well, Well,
Have
thank
a
you
good
for.
day and have happy holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Thank you. Have a happy Christmas to you too. No, thank you for stopping by, and I'll be chatting with you later.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Kiri. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Alright, that was Theo. I'm gonna wait on doing lesson learn until like maybe another stream or something. That one's gonna take me a good while, and I don't really have that much time left. We gotta do Festivus. Guys, if you want, oh, you know what? I should have turned off I'll edit the video later. I'll edit it later. Just cut it apart or something. I don't know. Anyway, but I got day 23 done, so that's what matters the most. I wanted to try to keep the Advent of Cyber stuff to Advent of Cyber and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, also have some Chex Mix that I've been nomming on. Got homemade Chex Mix and oh yeah, I got some homemade Chex Mix and had to add some salt to it. But yeah, Dio is awesome. Like everyone should definitely give him a follow. Go check him out. Go watch his hacker streams. He usually streams in the morning, so if you're up at like 6 a.m. in the morning, that's your good chance to catch him. Anyway, I wish I could do more of this, but we're just chatting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get ready for Festivus on Discord. You guys can go. Hang on a second. Let me get my Discord link. Guys, go to my Discord. We're gonna have Festivus in about 15 minutes. That's why I've got to cut off the stream here. In about once I hit the 2-hour mark, I'm gonna raid out. So I'm gonna have a look at the lesson learned. We'll play with lesson learned probably tomorrow. Actually, we'll do that tomorrow. Because I only had Just Chatting planned for after Advent of Cyber Day 24. So, anyway. We're gonna do some shoutouts real quick, and then we're gonna get ready to do some Festivus stuff. What's going on to Travis the Nice Guy? What's going on to B7H30? What's going on to Goddess Love in the house? And that's pretty much everybody. Please, everybody, hop into Discord. Actually, get into the Discord general VC, because we're gonna be doing some Festivus on there, and for our feats of strength this year, we're gonna do a Fortnite 1v1. And Festivus is not over unless the head of the household gets pinned, in which case it's me. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun pinning whoever I pick to 1v1. Anyway, do we have anyone on Twitter? Do we have anyone on Mastodon to shout out? I'm gonna go through the walkthrough for lessons learned later. Anyway, what's going on there? Shiki... Hold on, who is that? Shiki, Shiki Kojima VT pre-debut. Okay. We've got, who is this? If I liked your tweet, follow me maybe. Are you trying to harvest, likes or something, or follows or something? Good lord. And do we have any Mastodon shoutouts to be had here? Okay, well, folks, we're gonna get ready to do Festivus. Everybody get in my Discord server if you're not already in there. I'm gonna post it again for everybody watching the stream. And I want every one of you guys to get into my general VC. If you're verified already, get in my general VC. We're gonna get ready for Festivus here in about 9 minutes. 9 minutes. So you guys go ahead and get in there, and we're gonna have ourselves a Festivus dinner. So I'll poke everyone in about 5 minutes. As a matter of fact, let me get in there now. And I'll poke everybody to get in, and we're gonna have Festivus. Get in the general VC if you want to celebrate. And observe. Alright. So, let me get, do I want eggnog? Maybe I might get some eggnog. Maybe I'll wait to get eggnog. Until tomorrow, how about tomorrow I'll get some eggnog. Don't forget, guys, I will be back on stream here in about 4 hours. Here in about 4 hours, I'm going to be back on here. I'm going to introduce the Santa Claus versus the Conquers the Martians movie that we're going to stream tonight. We're going to stream a bunch of movies. As a countdown to Santa Claus. We're gonna track Santa, and I'm gonna shoot Santa out of his sleigh. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna shoot Santa Claus out of his sleigh if he flies over me. This is a no-fly zone over here. Just kidding. That's a joke. Anyway, let's find someone to raid. We're gonna find somebody to raid. Everybody get in. Everybody go ahead and get in the general voice chat. Everybody get in general voice. We're going to do our Festivus here in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes, guys. And, yeah. Alright, so who is live right now? We gotta find somebody to raid before we do Festivus. Yell's live, the goose. Who else? Let me see if I can find someone to raid out to. And we're gonna have a special Festivus raid message. We're not gonna do the Hack the Planet raid message. We're gonna do a Festivus raid message. 2 Girls 1 Game. That's somebody I haven't tuned in and watched in a while. There's another Kiri we can raid. She's never on when I'm on, or sometimes she is on, and I end up raiding someone else. But that would be perfect. I'm gonna send. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm gonna send you from one Kiri to another. I'm gonna send you from one Kiri to another. So let me find a something we can use for our raid message. So we have 2 Kiris on right now. We're gonna raid this one. This one's a snake Kiri. You know what, let's use this emote. We'll use this emote. There we go. We're gonna use this raid message to raid Expired Popsicle. Alright, everybody go show Expired Popsicle some love. Tell this Kiri happy Festivus. We're gonna be going from one Kiri to another. So thank you for watching, guys. I will see you in 4 hours for Santa vs. the Martians and other B-movie public domain kind of videos. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Join the Discord for Festivus fun. Alright, love you guys. I will see you in I will see you on the Discord. If not, I will see you in 4 hours to start the 31-hour stream. Alright, you guys, have a good night, and I will see you on Festivus or in 4 hours. Alright, bye. Alright, get me out of here. We're raiding Kiri. We're raiding Kiri. You guys say hi to Kiri. Okay? Okay. Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Festivus. Happy Ramadan. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy everything.